Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's call to discuss PeptiDream's first half 2026 results. Joining me on the call today are Masato Murakami, Executive Vice President of our radiopharmaceutical business and President of our wholly owned subsidiary, PDR Radiopharma, as well as three recent additions to our executive leadership team: Catherine Ohura, Executive Vice President Operations; Jun Kono, Executive Vice President Strategy; and Koro Shikata, Executive Vice President, People and Culture. I will begin by providing an overview of our business and highlighting the key achievements and developments from the first half of 2026. I will then hand over to Masato, who will provide an update on PD Radiopharma's progress during the first half of the year. Following these business updates, I will provide a brief review of our financial performance for the period. I will then invite Catherine, Jun, and Kodo to briefly introduce themselves and share their perspectives as they join the leadership team at this exciting stage of the company's evolution. Kodo will then provide a brief progress update of our sustainability efforts and initiatives before I wrap up with a closing remark and before we open the line for a question and answer session. With that, let me begin with an update on the business and our key accomplishments during the first half of 2026. As we announced at our 2026 annual shareholders meeting in March, PeptiDream is embarking on an exciting new chapter in its history. We have evolved from a university startup 20 years ago into a global discovery company, and 2026 marks the next step in that journey, becoming a global discovery and development company. This represents an important milestone on our path toward realizing our long-term vision of becoming a leading global biopharmaceutical company. To successfully execute this next phase, we are focused on three strategic priorities. First is expanding and advancing our clinical stage pipeline. Clinical programs are the primary driver of future revenue growth and corporate value creation. As such, we are focused on increasing the overall number of programs in clinical development, providing more opportunities for products to reach the market and ultimately benefit patients. Importantly, with a recent announcement that our wholly owned CA9 targeted radiopharmaceutical program has entered a phase 1 study in the United States, we will continue this trend and advance select wholly owned high-value programs into clinical development ourselves. This approach complements the outstanding development efforts of our partners while enabling us to unlock additional clinical opportunities and create greater long-term value for shareholders. Second, maintaining a strong focus on discovery and asset creation across our 5 core therapeutic areas, where macrocyclic peptides offer significant competitive advantages. Our objective is to build and sustain a robust pipeline of preclinical and clinical programs across these 5 core areas, both through partnerships and through internal efforts. By continuously generating high-quality development candidates, we can create a steady flow of programs entering clinical development and support sustained growth of our clinical pipeline for many years to come. In addition, these assets provide opportunities for new collaborations, licensing transactions, and strategic partnerships, allowing for revenue generation opportunities that can be reinvested to further strengthen our pipeline. Third, maintaining financial discipline. We will continue to maximize revenue opportunities from our existing collaborations and partnerships, while pursuing new partnerships, licensing transactions, and other business development opportunities, alongside the continued growth of PD Radiopharma. We intend to reinvest these profits into sustaining our asset creation engine, maintaining a robust preclinical pipeline, and advancing select high-value clinical programs. By balancing our R&D investments with annual revenue and profitability, we aim to drive sustainable long-term value creation. Supported by a deeper and more experienced management team, these 3 priorities form the foundation of our strategy as we transition to the next phase of PeptiDream's evolution and continue building a company capable of delivering meaningful innovation for patients, partners, and shareholders worldwide. The core value of any biotech company lies in its clinical pipeline, and our pipeline remains the primary driver of long-term value creation. Today, our revenue is primarily derived from R&D funding and milestone payments from existing collaborations, as well as upfront payments from new or expanded partnerships or other business opportunities. While these revenue streams have enabled our growth, they can fluctuate significantly from quarter to quarter and year to year. In contrast, our Japan radiopharmaceutical business provides a more stable revenue base, supported largely by commercial products and commercial sales of marketed diagnostic products and other radiopharmaceutical-related services. Looking ahead, our objective is to continue advancing our clinical pipeline and successfully bring products to patients. As more programs reach commercialization, we expect our revenue mix to evolve from one driven primarily by partnership and licensing activity to one increasingly supported by product sales and royalties, creating a more predictable and sustainable financial foundation. To achieve this, we will remain disciplined in managing costs while reinvesting the profits generated by our business into advancing and expanding our pipeline, ensuring continued innovation and long-term value creation. Our 5 core focus areas provide PeptiDream with a broad and diverse set of value creation opportunities. In the radiopharmaceutical space, we have built a rapidly expanding pipeline that spans late-stage programs being developed for the Japanese market through our subsidiary, PD Radiopharma, including PSMA and ATSM programs. A growing portfolio of partner programs, such as our GPC3, FAP, and HER2 programs, and our first wholly owned radiopharmaceutical program, CA9, which entered the clinic this year. Beyond our clinical stage portfolio, we have a rich preclinical pipeline that includes both wholly owned programs, such as our announced Claudin 18.2 and CDH3, Cadherin-3 programs, as well as partnered programs with some of the industry's leading companies. These programs provide multiple opportunities to continue expanding our pipeline with high-value assets and creating future sources of growth. Importantly, these development activities are complemented by PDR Radiopharma's strong commercial presence in Japan. As a leading company with a long history in radiopharmaceuticals and diagnostic imaging, as well as growing product revenue, PD Radiopharma provides both strategic capabilities and a solid commercial foundation. Together, this combination of commercial infrastructure, partnered programs, wholly owned assets, and a deep preclinical pipeline creates a highly diversified portfolio of opportunities, positioning us to drive sustainable growth and long-term value creation for patients and shareholders. Across our other 4 core focus areas, which we collectively refer to as our non-radiopharmaceutical business, we continue to make strong progress across a broad portfolio of partnered and wholly owned peptide therapeutic programs. We have several exciting partnered programs advancing toward clinical entry, while our internal programs, including myostatin, IL-17, and others, continue to progress as we evaluate opportunities to secure the best strategic partners to maximize their value. In our oligo-PDC business, we have established collaborations with many of the industry's leading pharmaceutical companies and are advancing several promising programs toward the clinic. Interest in this area remains strong, reflecting the significant potential of our technology and approach. Within our cytotox PDC portfolio, we are making excellent progress and expect our first program to enter the clinic in the near future. We believe successful clinical advancement in this area will further strengthen partnering interest and expand future business development opportunities. Lastly, in our multifunctional peptide conjugate, or MPC business, our current focus is on creating high-value assets that can support future partnering transactions and establish a leadership position in this strong emerging field. Overall, this continues to be an exciting time for macrocyclic peptide therapeutics. Demand for innovative peptide-based medicine continues to grow, and with our broad technology platform, strong partnerships, and an expanding pipeline, we see no shortage of opportunities to create long-term value. Continuing from the previous slide, the opportunities created across our 5 core focus areas are all rooted in the unique strengths of macrocyclic peptides. Macrocyclic peptides combine many of the key attributes sought in ideal therapeutic modality. They can deliver the high affinity and selectivity typically associated with biologics while maintaining excellent tissue and tumor penetration, rapid clearance from non-target tissues, and the flexibility of a highly versatile and scalable platform. Together, these characteristics make macrocyclic peptides exceptionally effective delivery vehicles. This delivery capability underpins 4 of our 5 core focus areas. Whether delivering a radiopharmaceutical RI payload or a cytotoxic payload to selectively kill tumor target cells, recruiting immune cells through MPCs, or delivering oligonucleotide therapeutics to specific cells and tissues through our oligo-PDCs. Each of these approaches leverages the unique ability of macrocyclic peptides to precisely deliver powerful payloads where they are needed most. Our 5th focus area, in this slide referred as second, peptide therapeutics, represents another significant opportunity. Both injectable and more recently, oral peptide medicines have emerged as one of the most exciting areas in drug development, driven by recent clinical and approval successes. Taken together, these trends reinforce our conviction that macrocyclic peptides will continue to play an increasingly important role in the development of future therapeutics. Few companies are as broadly positioned across this opportunity set as PeptiDream, and we believe our platform, our pipeline, and our partnerships provide a strong foundation for creating transformative medicines for patients. After seeing 6 programs advance into the clinic in 2025, we began fiscal year 2026 with 13 clinical stage programs. At the start of the year, we guided that we expected an additional 6 to 12 programs to enter the clinic during the year, further expanding our growing clinical pipeline. Through the first half of 2026, we have already achieved significant progress, already with 6 new programs entering clinical development. In April, our partner Asahi Kasei Therapeutics advanced AK-1940, a selective TNF receptor 1 inhibitor, into a phase 1 study. In July, PeptiDream achieved a major milestone as our first wholly owned radiopharmaceutical theragnostic program, CA9 for kidney cancer, entered a phase 1 study in the United States. More recently, MSD announced that a PET imaging agent originating from our collaboration has also advanced into the clinic. And just this morning, we were delighted to be able to announce that Novartis has entered the clinic with our partnered RI-PDC program targeting HER2. These achievements have expanded our clinical pipeline from 13 programs at the beginning of the year to 19 current programs today, allowing us to already achieve the low end of our fiscal 2026 guidance, but more importantly, demonstrate the continued productivity of our platform and partnerships. With a growing number of late-stage preclinical assets across our 5 core focus areas, we are well positioned to sustain this pace of pipeline expansion through 2027 and beyond. This slide provides an overview of our radiopharmaceutical pipeline. The arrows highlight the 5 programs that newly entered the clinic during the first half of fiscal year 2026. On our non-RI pipeline, this slide provides an overview of our non-RI peptide pipeline. The arrow highlights the addition of the AKT program that newly entered the clinic during the first half of fiscal year 2026. We have already seen a number of important clinical development milestones during the first half of fiscal year 2026, including the clinical advances I highlighted earlier from our collaborations with Asahi Kasei Therapeutics, MSD, and Novartis, as well as the advancement of our first wholly owned CA9 program. In addition to those achievements, the year began with a clinical candidate announcement from our partnership with Johnson & Johnson, continuing to highlight the productivity of our partnered portfolio. Also, in June, our second wholly owned radiopharmaceutical program targeting Claudin 18.2 entered a phase 0 human imaging study in collaboration with the wonderful folks at the National Cancer Center, Japan. This is an important milestone for the program, enabling us to establish proof of concept in humans and supporting the program's potential advancement into a future phase 1 clinical development study. Masato will discuss our therapeutic and diagnostic PSMA program in more detail during the PD Radiopharma update. And with that, I will now like to turn the call over to Masato. Masato, please.
PDR ファーマ社長を務めております、村上です。PDR ファーマの第2四半期の進捗をご説明いたします。このスライドは PDR ファーマの価値創造を3つの要素で示しています。まず左側、これは既存製品による売上基盤です。ペット製品は前年同期比 30% 増となり、事業成長を牽引しました。中央は将来の製品売上候補となる後期開発品です。PSMA の診断薬と治療薬、並びに64カッパ ATSM の開発が進んでいます。最後に右側は事業化を支える環境です。国の政策において放射性医薬品の開発、製造、安定供給、医療提供体制の重要性が明確になってきました。PDR ファーマの強みは、既存製品を販売する事業基盤と、開発品を承認、供給、販売へとつなぐ機能を同時に有していることです。この点を次の3枚でご説明いたします。続いて、既存事業の成長を牽引したペット製品についてご説明いたします。2026年第2四半期のペットの製品売上は、前年同期比 30% 増となりました。主な成長ドライバーは、アミビドと FDG です。アミビドはアミロイド β を標的とする治療薬の普及に伴い、アミロイド β 検査への需要が拡大しました。FDG も製品特性を生かし、安定的に推移しました。ペット製品の成長は、足元の売上増加に加え、PDR ファーマの事業基盤を強化する重要な要素です。今後も成長するペット製品と、幅広い既存製品ポートフォリオの2方を通じて、放射性医薬品事業全体の持続的な成長を目指します。次に、将来の製品化を目指す後期開発品についてご説明します。PDR ファーマでは、前立腺がん領域において、診断と治療を組み合わせた PSMA フランチャイズの構築を進めています。左側の64カッパ PSMA I&T は、PSMA を標的とする前立腺がんペット診断薬です。初発および再発の前立腺がんの病変の広がりや転移病変の強化に加え、PSMA 標的治療の対象となる患者さんの選択に使用することを想定しています。2026年6月に患者投与を完了いたしました。下期に試験結果の取得を予定しています。これは PDR ファーマにおける直近の重要な開発マイルストーンです。その後、2027年の承認申請を計画しています。中央の 177LU-PSMA I&T は、PSMA を標的とする前立腺がん治療薬です。対象はアンドロゲン受容体標的治療後で、タキサン系化学療法を受けていない転移性虚勢抵抗性前立腺がんの患者さんです。 2026年2月に患者投与を開始し、現在承認申請を目指す試験が進行しています。2029年の承認申請を計画しています。この診断薬と治療薬により、診断で治療対象となる患者さんを選択し、同じ PSMA 標的に対する治療へつなげることを目指します。この PSMA-I&T は、キュリウムファーマとの戦略的提携に基づいて開発を進めています。右側の 64-ATSM は、悪性脳腫瘍の一種である悪性神経膠腫を対象とする治療薬候補です。悪性神経膠腫は、有効な治療選択肢が限られ、アンメットメディカルニーズの高い疾患です。2024年6月に第3相試験を患者投与を開始しました。現在、承認申請を目指す試験が進行しており、2028年の承認申請を計画しています。本プログラムはリンクメットとの戦略的提携に基づき共同開発を進めています。これらの開発品は今後の臨床結果と承認取得が前提となります。一方、PDR ファーマは薬事、製造、供給、販売を一貫して担う事業基盤を有しています。この基盤を生かして開発品を承認、上市、そして将来の製品売上へつなげていくことが PDR ファーマの重要な役割です。最後に、放射性医薬品を取り巻く日本の政策環境についてご説明します。2026年、日本政府は日本の成長戦略において17の戦略分野を固めました。その11番目に、創薬先端医療が位置づけられています。また、骨太の方針2026でも、創薬先端医療への官民投資を拡大し、健康医療安全保障を実現するという方針の中で、研究開発、生産等を推進する分野として、放射性医薬品が国の重点政策に位置づけられています。さらに、2026年4月には、内閣府原子力委員会に放射性医薬品に関する専門委員会が設置されました。これは、放射性医薬品が個別企業や個別の製品だけの課題ではなく、患者アクセス、医療安全保障、国内製造、医療提供体制に関わる国家的な課題として認識されたことを示しています。今後は制度の具体化、予算措置、供給体制や医療提供体制の整備が重要になります。PDR ファーマは政策の具体化を注視しながら、自社および提携開発員の将来の上市に向けて、製造、供給、薬事、販売体制の整備を着実に進めてまいります。既存製品を安定的に供給し、後期開発員を着実に前進させる。そして新たな診断、治療の選択肢を患者さんへ届ける。これらを通じて患者さんへの貢献と PDR ファーマの持続的な成長を両立してまいります。以上、PDR ファーマのアップデートでした。
Right. Thank you, Masato. For the first half of fiscal year 2026, we reported total revenue of 9.2 billion Japanese yen, an operating loss of 2.5 billion Japanese yen, and earnings per share of negative 15.51 Japanese yen. These results were in line with our expectations and reflected the planned investments we are making to support the continued growth of our pipeline and business. There were no significant surprises during the reporting period. Turning to our outlook, we are reaffirming that our fiscal year 2026 guidance remains unchanged, with expected revenue of 32 billion Japanese yen and a return to profitability. For our drug discovery and development business, we continue to see strong interest from companies wanting to partner or expand existing partnerships with us. And we have multiple active discussions underway, and therefore we remain confident in our ability to achieve our 15 billion Japanese yen revenue target for the fiscal year. Within our radio pharma business, performance at PD Radio Pharma has been extremely solid, particularly for our pet product portfolio, as Masato highlighted earlier. And based on this performance to date and expected trends through the remainder of the year, we remain confident in achieving our 17 billion Japanese yen revenue target. As we described in February, we introduced a new category we refer to as Plus Alpha, which represents potential partnering, licensing, and other strategic transactions that were not included in our fiscal 2026 guidance assumptions. Importantly, none of our major wholly owned programs were incorporated into our base case forecast for fiscal 2026, in part reflecting the challenges of predicting the timing of any license transaction, but also our strong commitment to securing the right partner for each asset to maximize its long-term value. We recognize the significant shareholder interest surrounding our oral myostatin and oral IL-17 programs. We continue to evaluate a range of partnering opportunities for these programs. And while our priority remains finding the right partner rather than simply completing a transaction, I am confident we will secure strong partners for both programs and maximize their long-term value. Importantly, we remain in a very strong cash position to execute our strategy and support the continued expansion of our pipeline. We expect that position to strengthen further as we complete additional partnering deals this year and into 2027. As planned, we have increased our R&D investment in 2026, primarily to support the clinical advancement of our CA9, Claudin 18.2, and PSMA programs, as well as continued development activities related to our oral IL-17, oral myostatin, and MPC platforms. At the same time, we remain committed to financial discipline. While we will continue to invest in our highest value opportunities, we intend to carefully balance our annual R&D expenditures against revenue generation and profitability objectives, ensuring we maintain a strong financial foundation while advancing our long-term growth strategy. Additionally, both the Tonomachi and Kazusa capital projects continue to advance. We expect to fund these investments primarily through long-term bank loans, while also pursuing available government incentive and support programs. With our strong cash position and anticipated future business development revenues, we remain well positioned to execute these projects while maintaining our financial discipline. I would like to briefly highlight the leadership changes we announced earlier this year. On July 1st, we welcomed Catherine Ohura, Jun Kono, and Koro Shigata as executive vice presidents. This followed the announcement on April 1st, in which we promoted 6 key functional leaders to vice president roles. Building a deep, experienced, and scalable management team has been a key priority for both myself and PeptiDream's board of directors. As PeptiDream continues to grow and evolve, we will continue to strengthen our leadership organization and add exceptional talent where needed to support our long-term ambitions. With that, I would like to invite each of our new EVPs to briefly introduce themselves. Following these introductions, Kodo will provide an update on our sustainability initiatives. Kathy, if you would be so kind as to start us off.
パトリックさん、ありがとうございます。皆様、はじめまして。7月よりペプチドリームのオペレーション担当、エグゼクティブバイスプレジデントとして就任しました、大浦香里です。私のこれまでの経歴としましては、大学卒業後に票発行キリンの米国法人の創設期に参画し、 米国で製薬業界のキャリアをスタートいたしました。組織づくりから事業運営まで13年間にわたり医薬品開発の現場で経験を積みました。その後、ブリストルマイヤーズスクイブではプロジェクトマネジメントを中心に研究開発のみならずビジネスやコマーシャル領域も担当し、グローバル製薬企業における幅広い視点を培ってまいりました。さらに、グローバルヘルス技術振興基金 G-HIT、ラボコープラボラトリーズジャパン、イルミナでは日本法人の代表などを歴任し、組織運営や企業変革をリードする経験を積むことで、グローバル製薬企業における幅広い視点を培ってまいりました。ペプチドリームに参画して、社長をはじめ、多くの社員たちとの会話を通じて感じていることは、PDPS や充実したパイプラインの可能性はもちろんのこと、社員一人一人が本気で世界を変えようとしている、そんな会社であるというところです。私は変革は大胆な夢を信じることから始まると考えております。スティーブ・ジョブズの自分が世界を変えると本気で信じている人たちだけが本当に世界を変えることができるという言葉は、私自身が大切にしてきた信念です。ペプチドリームが目指す未来もまた、そのような挑戦の先にあるものだと思います。オペレーション領域から組織の成長を支えながら、世界中の患者さんに新たな価値と可能性を届けることに貢献していきたいと考えております。今後ともペプチドリームの成長を楽しみにしていただきたいと思います。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。では次に河野さんの方から紹介をお願いいたします。
はい、ありがとうございます。皆さんこんにちは。この度ペプチドリームに参画いたしました経営戦略を担当する河野純と申します。私はこれまでアステラス製薬でコマーシャル、経営戦略、事業開発の領域でリーダーシップに携わってまいりました。同社では日本、米国、欧州での事業運営やグローバルでの事業開発、M&A、ライセンス活動を通じて研究開発の成果をいかに患者さんへの価値、そして企業価値へ結びつけるかを一貫して考えてまいりました。ペプシドリームに入社後、改めて強く感じますのは、ペプシドリームの PDPS という創薬プラットフォームの独自性の高さ、そしてそれを支える人材と組織力があるということ。また、国内外のパートナーとのアクティブなコラボレーションの内側から知ることで、環状ペプチドという比較的新しい創薬モダリティへの関心の高さ、そしてその可能性の高さを改めてひしひしと感じております。一方、これからの成長には、優れた技術を生み出すだけではなくて、それを開発し、事業として育て、最終的に患者さんへ届ける実行力がますます重要になります。私がペプシドリームで目指したいことは、PDPS を中核としたイノベーションの創出力を持続的な成長と企業価値向上にしっかり結びつけることです。そのために、ポートフォリオの優先順位付け、パートナーシップとの価値最大化、自社プログラムの戦略的な推進を通じて、ペプシドリームが世界中の患者さんに新しい医薬品を届ける企業へ進化することに貢献してまいりたいと考えています。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。それでは次に、四方の方からご紹介をいたします。お願いします。
河野さん、ありがとうございました。この度、ペプチドリームの EVP、ピープル&カルチャーに就任いたしました四方光道です。現在は人事、組織領域に加え、サステナビリティも担当しております。私はこれまで製薬業界で創薬研究と人材、組織マネジメントの双方に関わってまいりました。研究開発の現場で新薬創出に取り組んだ経験と、人事組織領域で経営を支えてきたこの経験が現在の私の基盤となっております。研究開発の現場で実感したのは、革新的な成果は優れたサイエンスだけで生まれるものではなく、それを実現する人材と組織の力によって生み出されるということです。私は人材こそが企業価値を生み出す源泉であり、ピープル&カルチャーの役割はその価値を最大化することだと考えています。ペプシドリームは PDPS を基盤とした 世界トップレベルのサイエンスにより、次世代医薬品の創出に挑戦しています。その競争力の源泉は、社員一人一人の高い専門性と挑戦する姿勢にあります。私はピープル&カルチャーおよびサステナビリティを担当する立場として、人的資本の最大化と持続可能な経営基盤の強化を通じて、中長期的な企業価値向上に貢献してまいります。それでは続きまして、当社のサステナビリティへの取り組みについてご説明いたします。本スライドでは、当社の直近のサステナビリティへの取り組みと、主な外部評価についてご説明いたします。ペプチドリームはミッションである次世代医薬品の創出を通じて、社会課題の解決に貢献するとともに、持続的な企業価値向上を目指しています。サステナビリティはその実現を支える重要な経営基盤だと位置づけております。まず左側は2025年以降の主な取り組みです。ガバナンス面では新たなリーダーシップ体制の下、経営基盤およびガバナンス体制の強化を進めています。環境面では本年より ＰDR ファーマ千葉工場で使用する電力を 100% 再生可能エネルギーへ切り替え、グループ全体の再生可能エネルギー利用率は 80% に達しました。また、2030年に向けて毎年 1% の水使用量削減を目標に掲げ、水資源の適切な利用と保全を推進しております。人的資本の分野では、多様な人材が活躍できる環境づくりを進めています。その一例として、当社所属の車椅子ラグビー選手である月村選手が、日本代表として2025年ワールド車椅子ラグビーアジアオセアニア大会に出場し、優勝に貢献されました。続いて右側は、これらの取り組みに対する外部評価です。当社は2025年、気候変動に関する国際的な評価機関である CDP において、最高評価の A リストに初めて選定されました。また、年金積立金管理運用独立行政法人 GPIF が採用する主要な ESG 指標にも、継続的に採用されており、FTSE-JPX ブロッサムジャパンインデックスには6年連続、FTSE-JPX ブロッサムジャパンセクターリラティブインデックスには5年連続で選定されております。さらに、環境情報開示や炭素効率性、女性活躍やジェンダーダイバーシティに対する取り組みを評価する指数にも採用されており、環境、人的資本の両面で高い評価をいただいております。今後も人材、環境、ガバナンス、これらの取り組みを着実に進めながら、サステナビリティを競争力と成長の源泉として生かし、革新的な医薬品の創出と持続的な企業価値向上を目指してまいります。私からの説明は以上となります。それではリックさんお願いいたします。
Thank you. Overall, I am exceptionally pleased with our progress and remain extremely confident in our future outlook. Our clinical pipeline is rapidly expanding, and our business development opportunities are numerous and stronger than ever. We are extremely well positioned to execute on the strategies outlined today and deliver to patients next generation macrocyclic peptide-based diagnostics and therapeutics. With that, I will conclude today's presentation and turn to the Q&A session, where I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.